Hi, I'm Eric at Ups and Downs Miniature Zebu Ranch in Citra, Florida. This is Florida Natural Farming. Today I'm going to talk about soil pH is influenced by microbial diversity, and soil pH and microbial diversity is much more important than mineral contents of soils. So I'm out here with my miniature Zebu. Of course, Wally hates it when I talk on the phone. Hi, Wally. And this is our bull, our oldest bull. He's 6. We have 3 bulls. We have his son. He's 32 inches, and he's built very nicely. And then we have Uma, Bogle Farms Uma, Pepsi I call her, son, and his son. And then we have our new little bull calf. But I've been rotationally grazing these pastures here. We have about, 20 acres of pasture for grazing here, and pastures stay fairly green, which is surprising because it's been very cold. Green and thick and lush, which is nice because we don't have to buy any hay. So we sold this mobile home. We just want it hauled off here. It's like a microplastic super site. It's polyvinyl chloride. It's PVC siding, and all the interior walls are plastic. I didn't realize that trailers were all plastic inside, and we just started storing stuff in it, and we didn't want to do that. We have this huge barn that we could store stuff in, and we just didn't want this just turning into some, knock it off, Wally, quickly degraded, come here, site. So we are having it hauled off shortly, and we'll just do without the trailer. Our insurance canceled us because of that trailer, which we didn't even want. So that's why, one of the reasons why we got rid of it. So we had to get new insurance. And anyway, so I just have been trying to figure out my path forward with this YouTube channel now that we have pretty much sold Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. It was my muse, and really led me on this journey of natural farming. It started with biodynamic farming. We were biodynamics certified at that farm, but I just felt like there was too much dogma involved, and the biodynamic community, though supportive to some, I just never felt the love. I felt like it was a pay for play relationship. And I was right, because as soon as we stopped being biodynamic certified, I never heard from anybody in the Biodynamic Association again. So it was definitely a pay for play. And I find that the Biodynamic Association, as much as I love biodynamics, I just feel like their head is in the clouds all the time, and they just don't. But the whole thing with biodynamics is you want to be able to grow as close to nature as possible, but yet when they are presented with a all natural system, they don't even recognize it. And not that I'm expecting any recognition from them, but you think that what their whole goal is to achieve a natural growing system. And then once it's achieved, you think that somebody in the biodynamic community would take note. I know there's plenty of people that aren't biodynamic certified that do, but it just seemed odd to me. And then they constantly focus on word riddles, like all this big words and just putting together these sentences that take hours just to like try to figure out what they're trying to say, and it has to do with stars and the light and everything, and none of them look at microbial life. So that's what I'm going to talk about, because I figured out that the whole system runs on a functional microbial system in the soil and in the plants and in life in general, endosphere, phyllosphere, and rhizosphere of the plants. And I'm going to plant some of my Garcinia seeds inside this chicken coop, which has peppers and tomatoes growing in there naturally, never watered. We don't water anything. I'm doing the whole farm system here on an unwatered system. We do have this built-in old growth oak forest on this property, which is pretty much instant success for natural farming. It would be very hard to not have success when you have a biological functional system like this already in place. If it was just a field with no food forest or no forest attached to it, it would probably be a lot harder, because the amount of biomass, microbial biomass in these trees and in the roots of the trees alone is enough to keep a system running without any assistance from us for a long time. And it did take me a while to figure this out, and I know that planting multi-species seeds in the ground is a good way to inoculate your soil with a functional diversity group of microbial life and correct the pH. So the pH, if you this in a dead soil, a dead flattened soil like a riding arena or like a driveway where there's no cushion to the soil, it doesn't spring back up when you walk on it, that means that your soil is completely devoid of microbial life, a very little microbial life in there, like this road. And you can feel it when you walk on it. It's hard. And they were mowing these oak forests and raking up all the leaves and removing all the branch litter and stuff. But we're going to try to let it grow out and just have areas that are manicured along the periphery of the forest, and the path goes through it, and then plant a lot of more bananas in here, because I know that bananas are powerhouses of microbial diversity, that are keystone species, that are communally beneficial to the system. So they are beneficial to other plants. They share nutrients, and they're all because of all the water in the plants and the weight of the banana plants and the high potassium content. They're uniquely suited to inoculate the soil in areas that have had compaction and have become disconnected from this oak forest biological system, because the top layer is compacted, and guaranteed the bottom layer is compacted from years and years and years of mowing. And it's finally getting soft. It pretty much came back very quickly as being cushiony. Just not mowing it all the time has made it, I could feel it spring back much quicker than Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm did. Because all those roots are in there, and there's mycelium in the oak tree that is interconnects all this diversity in the orchard floor that's starting to pop up, which you want. A lot of people think that you should do a monocrop of like perennial peanut in the tropical fruit tree growing group. But perennial peanut is just, will give you an overload of nitrogen, which will affect your functional diversity of your microbial life. Anything that's done out of proportion, any input like nitrogen inputs, and whether it's from nitrogen fertilizers or from legumes, can put the system out of balance and hinder the homeostasis of the microbial life in the soil. And you need the homeostasis, balanced microbial life in the soil, in order for you to have functional microbial diversity that is plant beneficial. It's a delicate game, and it's pretty easy as long as you remove yourself from the system and just add diversity. Here's my wild new calves. They're so freaking wild. I put Romy in here because they didn't know to go in the barn. So he got them to go in the barn. So they're going in the barn now, and they'd sit out in the rain. And I just don't, I know I say that I don't know if I can get them tame. I'm pretty sure we will, but it's going to take a while. That's our little heifer. She's really cute. Bogle Farms Butterbean. And that's Capretta Farms Hawk. We call him Hank. He's very cute. They're only 4 months old. I think that people wean their zebus too early. I think that they should be left with the mother for about 10 months so that they learn how to interact with newborn calves. Because when you wean them that early and then you raise them, they kind of can be rough with newborn calves. But I noticed our little calves from Pepsi this year, and from Carnation, and from Luna, we left on the cows for 10 months. And those heifers are super friendly and will mother newborn calves. So I think it's important that they learn to interact with the herd in order to become productive, beneficial herd members to the group. So this place has some riding arenas. It was a thoroughbred horse breeding facility. That's why we have this huge, gorgeous thoroughbred barn. Now a cow palace, basically. But we have these arenas, and I started planting vegetables in one of them. But I started looking at the weeds that were growing in here, and because somebody pointed out that there was wood sorrel. I haven't seen any wood sorrel in here, but there's this other weed here, and it is I forget the name of it. It is a weed that is a herbal remedy for inflammation. Indigenous. Has these yellow flowers on it. It's this one. So I tasted it. It's pretty good, and it's everywhere in here. And yet that's what they would spray Roundup on and kill to get rid of the weeds, probably in here, I would guess. I know they did along the edges. I could tell because nothing grows along the perimeter of the fence line of this arena. They think that's healthy. Scary that people don't understand that what they do, the chemicals they use in Florida really destroy a lot of systems. And the citrus industry is a prime example of that. I read this great study on soil pH and microbial life in a pomelo grove. And they said that NPK fertilizers that they use diminish microbial life and acidify the soil. Well, that's what goes on here in Florida, and their soil gets too acidic, so they have to add liming agents, even though they mine gypsum here in Florida, which is a liming agent. It just really confused me why anyone would have to mine lime in Florida, or not mine, but apply gypsum in Florida when they're mining it here. It's a big component of our sand. And it's because they have compacted the soil through mowing and through the use of fertilizers, and they've damaged the functional communal ability of the soil, microbial diversity of the soil. And so when you diminish the microbial life in the soil through the application of NPK fertilizers, you get compaction, and that acidifies the soil, because compaction lowers the pH of the soil. And in order for you to have a higher pH, which is more alkaline, then you have to have more pore space in your soil for the hydrogen to be stored in it. Microbial life fluffs up soil and makes more pore space. That's pretty much how it works. And they have the ability to excrete compounds that either acidify or cause the soil to become more alkaline. So in here I have been experimenting on vegetable garden, and it's highly compacted because, it's a riding arena, and then it's just sand. It's clay. It's a clay foundation, much like a clay tennis court, and then they put about 2 inches of sand on top of it. And I just wanted to find the worst spot in the entire farm to practice my dry farm vegetables this year, just so I could show people what is possible and show people that, what are people thinking and acting like you can't grow in Florida because we don't have nutrients in the soil. It's not about the mineral content of the soil. It's about the microbial life in the soil. And if you don't have microbial life because of practices that you've employed that damage microbial life in the soil or diminished microbial life in the soil, then you're not going to be able to grow healthy food without the inputs of NPK and stuff like that. And then that food isn't healthy. It doesn't contain the microbial life in the food that gives the nutrients to the food, basically. So I have some, it's been very cold. It's cold today. Some squash here, butternut squash, and some cilantro, little piles. Here didn't come up, but here's some more cilantro. But then I have radishes. That come up. This is all dry farmed, never been watered. Just put in here. And this is my lettuce for the tortoise we have. And here's some cilantro. It's coming along. Slowly coming along, but there's some kale. Here's some, I think, cabbage. Could be some greens. Here's some more cilantro. Here's some arugula. There's some more radish. Here's some more lettuce. I need to put some, because there are some areas that the stuff didn't come up, so I'm going to add some more seeds. Right here's an area. Here's some cabbage. But that, having the plants in the soil in a mix, so probably if I would have mixed all my seeds together and planted them in their rows, they would have done better. I think I'm going to experiment with the areas that didn't get the seeds come up. Like this is a row right here that didn't. I was using all elderly seeds, but most of the areas that came up. So I'm just going to mix them together. This was a mix of greens right here. It seems to do good, but I'm not sure how far apart they consider being, if it's separate. There is a certain amount of microbial life, the mycelium, that moves through here because of these trees, and it can move through very fast. And there are different mushrooms, arbuscular mushrooms that pop up in here. So I know that there's mycelium in here connecting the system. Right here's some. Here's some. Here's some. So those powder puff mushrooms. But so I know that the system is connected, and it would have to be. We went about 2 months without getting any rain, and it still grew. So the microbiology provides the water and the nutrients, the in a plant available form. When people say they have to water, it's because they're using NPK, or they have not built up the microbial populations of their soil. This is not built up, but guaranteed this is as bad as you can get. And if it wasn't for this, it probably wouldn't have worked. Maybe it would have worked. I just mixed raw Zebu manure in the soil and then put the seeds in it. You can do that. And then after 30 days, sell it to the public if you're so inclined to sell food to the public. I'm not selling food to the public any longer. We have sold our tropical fruit farm. It's going to close in a few weeks. I'm going down there today. My partner is there. They're coming back today. I'm going down today, and we're getting the rest of our stuff out of there and doing some minor repairs and touch-up paint. But so yeah, we're not going to sell anymore. People are still contacting me for seeds, but I can't sell anything from Frog Valley Farm anymore. It's pretty much sold. So I'm out of the fruit selling business. I will trade banana pups or other seeds that I might have in the future with people, but I'm not going to make a job out of it. I found I don't like to do that. So that's why we don't have Frog Valley Farm for too much longer. But I wasn't into food sales and fruit sales and plant sales. And the new people are going to do that, so hopefully they will, as soon as they give me their information and they want it shared, I will share it with people. So I noticed the sandhill cranes have been in here pecking at my little seeds. It's amazing. We've had freezes, supposedly. It's been 30, 31, 32, several days, nights, mornings. But yet, stuff is still maintaining. Those are potatoes. It's coming along. I mean, I put zero effort into this vegetable garden. And I'm sure next year, so after it starts getting warm, I'm going to throw a bunch of mix of wildflower seeds in here, maybe some okra and some other warm, maybe some squash, Seminole pumpkins in here, just a mix, a cover crop, and get that to grow in here, and just to try to build up the diversity of the microbiology in the soil to make it more functional, so that next year, next fall, when I plant a vegetable garden in here, it has a better chance of thriving. But look at this where they spray the Roundup. Nothing grows in there for years. It's probably worse than Roundup. I don't even want to know what they sprayed in there. So in here I put our bananas from Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm that are trying to repair the soil. They're doing really good, better than I thought. It's definitely been a lot colder than I thought it would be up here. Norman, take a hike. I don't want you following me around, chasing people around. I know. Nope. And, but there's huge areas where just nothing is growing. And then there weren't any leaves on the ground, which I was like, why aren't there any leaves on the ground? But, the neighbors came over because when I was planting the bananas, they thought I was raking up the leaves. I'm like, no, because it took me a few hours to do that. I said, no, I'm planting bananas. I don't rake leaves, which they're fine. They all seem to want to do food forests throughout their property, which will look cool. So hopefully these ice cream bananas, are going to thrive. They look totally fine. This group here that I left the tops on look excellent. There's, I think, 60 in this group here. I think it was like $20,000 worth of bananas I took from Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm, banana trees. I'm glad I took what I did, because now I can't take anything, and I can't take anything, and so I just am glad I got what I did when I did, because now we're focused on getting out of there. It's amazing how much crap one can acquire that you don't know you have. But yeah, these bananas look good. So over here are the bananas that I cut the tops off to get them in the truck, and I did over 100 of these short bananas. And some of them are coming up. This is one of the that I left the top on, but some of them are coming up. Some are not, but I know that they'll send off new pups. The ones that aren't coming up will send off new pups. So I'm not even worried about it. I know that those bananas from Frog Valley Farm are very good at inoculating the soil. How your bananas are grown, what conditions your bananas are being grown in, how the microbial life, the functional diversity of the microbial life in the soil where your bananas are planted will create banana pups that are full of functional diversity that will transfer into the soil and surrounding plants, because that's what they do. They share genetic material with other plants when you have functional diversity. And the phenotype of those bananas that we got from Frog Valley Farm are very tough. So the bananas here that were here, these are those burro bananas. Thanks, guys, for telling me what they were. They're quite delicious, big fat. You could eat them as a starch, but they're still producing bananas, even in this cold weather. And I've looked at a lot of bananas around here, and all of them are fried. But the bananas here, no problem. There is no cover above us. So it's just the proximity of the oak trees. And even though the system was damaged from mowing and spraying Roundup, nothing grows in here. That's from Roundup or, glyphosate. And all this is from that. The bare earth. It still has enough functional diversity because of this stand of live oak tree forest to transfer to the strength of the immune system of those bananas. Come on, go on. Go on, take a hike, go. I don't want you over here chasing my other cat away. So these are coming up. Here's this ones that didn't come up, but some of them are coming up. Ideally, I would have left all the tops of these on the bananas, but I wanted to get so many of them and they just would not fit in the truck. So these are some dragon fruit that my friend Alan Chris gave me that I need to transplant. They look good. I've been looking for palm trees to put them on. There are some here, but I haven't done that yet. But the bananas here, they're all coming up slowly but surely. Come spring or summer, I'm sure they're just going to start popping. And all this leaf litter that's here. I'm not into doing chop and drop. And chop and drop's great if you don't have any carbon in your system, but this carbon is already here. And just the amount that it sheds means that you don't have to do any chop and drop here. The bananas with the live functional diversity of microbial life in them that excrete the microbial life into the rhizosphere of the soil that connects with the rhizosphere of the oak trees, that connects with the rhizosphere of the other little weeds and plants that are trying to grow in here, and grasses. We'll just build and the high potassium content of these bananas will make it so the system can handle abiotic and biotic stress, because potassium's needed for plants to handle abiotic stress. It's the understory that they removed. You know, they'll replace that or get it kick-started. And they're so high in water, they're not really able to catch fire as easily as something that is not as aqueous as the bananas. So I think it'll be a great understory plant in here. And they're all still alive. They look great. They're very green and lush, so I know they're going to do fine. A lot of the 500 that I divided in at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm were the same way. Meaning because I chopped them all down flat, because that's how I used to do it. I'd chop them at the ground level and then dig them up, and some of them I buried upside down like they did in some tropic agroforestry. But I experimented in the 500 divides I did at Frog Valley Farm, and then I'm experimenting here, 150 more. And I found that when you leave the whole banana intact, it does better than any other form of how you would plant. Where, you know, chopping it down, better than that, better than burying upside down, just leaving the whole thing intact, which makes sense because the biology is still alive in the plant, functioning as one unit that is connecting to this system and building the functional diversity of its rhizosphere so that it can just continuously grow. But when you chop off all that, you're removing a huge portion of microbial life, which would be necromass if it died, to enable the saprophytic fungi to reabsorb the nutrients and feed it to the plants as needed. So it's just biomass that you want, that you get from these oak trees. So that's why it works. Yeah, I wish biodynamic farming would focus more on natural systems and microbial life than looking at the stars. And sure, that probably is important, but there's so much that we don't know that's going on in the soil. And to be told that you couldn't grow like this years ago, for me, when I was told I couldn't grow like this in Florida because there was no nutrients in the soil, and then discovering that the nutrients are the microbial life, it just was like, why aren't people talking about this? It's very frustrating when major universities are doing GMOs of citrus to combat citrus greening, and they failed to look at the microbial life in the soil as a solution to their issues surrounding greening. It's a microbial dysbiosis mostly due to soil pH and the lack of microbial life in the soil in the citrus groves that causes your citrus greening to turn into a plant pathogen. Same thing with the mango people. They failed to look at the microbial life, and they just try to kill all fungi. And you have to have a balanced system which contains a large portion of fungi, more so than bacterial life, in order for you to have a functional microbial diversity that is plant beneficial and won't turn into plant pathogenic, which you would get when you kill fungi from sprays and applications of synthetic fertilizers and applications of copper It just diminishes microbial life and makes Florida soils unable to combat abiotic or biotic stress. And so everyone looks for a chemical answer to the solution. And now they're looking to GMO, which is going to turn all the citrus into a GMO eventually. So all this variety we have is going to be wiped out, should be stopped. I don't think it should be allowed. I just don't believe in GMOs. I think they're totally wrong, and it's the wrong direction, especially since we know how to fix citrus greening by providing habitat in the soil that allows for microbial functional diversity to thrive. That's the answer. Anyway, hey, I'm Eric. This is Ups and Downs Farm. And that's my video on soil pH and microbial functional diversity is the answer to mineral and nutrient solutions to grow food, and how you combat abiotic and biotic stress. And those are our miniature zebus. We're now just focusing on miniature zebus, though I'm still going to do the plants because that's where I really get a lot of pleasure from. But zebu and plants really go hand in hand. The miniature zebu are manifestations of an animal from Earth, for Earth. If Earth were an animal, it would be a miniature zebu. Their manure is pure humus. They are not meant to be eaten. They are meant to provide habitat and ecosystem repair to the Earth. Anyway, get my head out of the clouds, Eric. Have an excellent day. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment. I always enjoy hearing from you.